The first steps that I'm going to tell you is that the answers or the responses in the TOEIC test do not always answer the questions directly. For example, the questions, did she say when she would be available? So in this kind of questions, the first expectation is that the answer or the response will be, yes, she did, or no, she didn't. Why? Because the questions began with did. But in this case, in fact, the response could be, she thinks she will be free later today. Now, what about the second tip? The second tip is, often the questions and answer will be in different tenses. For example, the questions, are you going to the party tonight? So, the questions here is in form of present continuous tense, right? Or sometimes it can be in simple future tense. But look at the one of the best responses here. I have made another plan. So the response here is in present perfect tense, right? The next tip is that the focus in the listening test part 2, questions and responses, is on meaning. Another example, the questions, do you think that they would mind if I came along? What kind of question is that? The question is asking you about your opinion. If the speaker come along, which mean in bahasa, apakah Anda kira mereka tidak keberatan jika saya ikut serta? And look at one of the best response. You should probably call them first, which mean kamu sebaiknya menelpon mereka terlebih dahulu. Probably in your mind, one of the best response will be, no, I don't think so. Or, yes, I think. But what happened? Sometimes can be like that, just like in the previous explanation. The tip number 1. Sometimes the response or the answer do not answer or respond the questions directly. And the second one, sometimes the questions and the responses are not in the same tenses, right? Why? Because the focus is on the meaning. Do you understand that? In order to find the meaning or the best response, you must be careful with the distractors. The distractor means the options or the responses that probably are trapping or menjebak. So what are the common distractors? The first, the word that has the same pronunciation, the same spelling, but they have different meaning. In bahasa Indonesia, like kata bisa. Saya bisa menari. And ular itu mempunyai bisa. Bisa in Bahasa Indonesia have the same pronunciation as well as the same spelling, but they have different meaning. Just like in this example here, has the sale improved profits? The sale here means penjualan, but what is the meaning of sale in the answer or in the response? Yes, it is for sale. Sale here doesn't mean penjualan, but what does sale mean? Good. Discount, something like that. Okay, be careful then with the word that has the spelling and the pronunciation has the same pronunciation and spelling but have different meaning. Okay, the second distractor will be the subject, the word that doesn't answer the questions. The test may use words that relate to one of the keywords in the questions but don't actually answer the questions. So, just like in the previous explanation, if you hear the same word in the questions and you also hear in the responses or one or two responses, do not directly think that this is the best response or answer. You must carefully listen. Take for example here, where can I buy a cheap air conditioner? It means the speaker asks you the place to buy a cheap air conditioner. Di mana saya bisa membeli AC yang murah. And what about the answer? One of the answers or responses here. I agree that it's very cheap. The word cheap is repeated both in the questions and also in the response. You must be careful with it because sometimes it doesn't answer the question. So, here, saya setuju bahwa hal itu or benda itu sangat murah. It doesn't answer the question, right? Okay, next distractor is the word that has the similar sound but different spelling. Pengucapan sama tetapi penulisan atau ejaan berbeda. Misalnya, the questions. Have you met the new staff? Staff here means karyawan. But what about the response? The response here, no, it's not the same staff. Staff, S-T-A-F-F, is pronounced the same as S-T-U-F-F, staff, but they have different meaning. The staff in the answer or the response means barang. So, the conclusion is that whenever you do the question and responses, please be careful about the distractor. Do not choose the response or the answer where you find the word that is on the question repeated in the answer or the response.